Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PS Vita review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Ys Memories of Celceta, at least I think that's pronounced Celceta. You may be completely confused at the fact that I'm actually even reviewing this, and in case you're wondering what it is, it's just like an RPG. But people might remember from a long time ago, I reviewed Ys 1 and 2. And I detested it, and I didn't hold back. I said how much I hated it. The whole premise and everything, I just couldn't stand a single bit about it. Honestly, I'd just got to the point where I thought, why am I even bothering playing this? It's just so awful. So, I honestly never thought I'd play an Ys game again. And eventually, this came out in America, because it's still not out in Europe, which is partially why I've done the review now, because I think it's due out in about 2 weeks or so in Europe. And I heard people constantly go on about it, and I thought, well, I'm not going to like it, because I didn't like it before. And eventually I just thought, sod it, I am going to get this game. And I looked on the internet, found someone in the UK who had the silver, I think it was called the Silver Anniversary Edition or something like that. And basically, you get a compass, you get a cloth map, you get 3 huge CDs. Well, I say huge CDs, they're obviously the same size as normal CDs, but they've got quite a lot of content on them from all the Ys games, just loads of music tracks and that. And I'm trying to remember if there's anything else you get. I'm sure there's something that I'm forgetting, but either way, oh yes, that was it. It's a little book that's like half strategy book, half art book, and I've not really looked at it because I didn't want to ruin anything on the game in case it was that type of strategy. And it's one of them. I'm glad I got it because, as far as I'm aware, it's not coming to Europe at all, that edition. Like pretty much all the collector's editions for the Vita, because I mean, I remember seeing a Muramasa 1, and I could never get that. And then Persona 1, and could never get that. And just, it was annoying. So I got this, and I played the hell out of it, and I must admit, I am so addicted to it, it's unbelievable. It's just an amazing game. The combat, instead of walking into the enemies, which is what I hated about Ys 1, it's actually a real-time combat system, and it works brilliantly. Each of the characters plays completely different and has different weapons and abilities. However, there's only 2 types, so it might sound weird, but you've got like a strike, a slash, and a pierce. And there's 2 strike, 2 slash, and 2 pierce. And basically, you may think that they'll play the same, but they've all got different weapons. So she there has like a lance. He's got a spear, she's got a mallet hammer thing, he's got a sword, he uses his bare fists, and she uses throwing knives. So I've shown you a little bit of gameplay with them 3, so now I'll show you with these 3. And, when it lets me exit, there we go. And they do play quite differently, and they've each got different abilities and different special moves, and there's a bar that you can charge up, which is that yellow thing there, and you can unleash devastating attacks, and every one of them's got a different one, and it's just really cool to see the differences, and it means that combat doesn't really get that steel, even though for the most part you're just bashing square. But from bashing square, you can also hold down the R button and then use one of 4 assigned abilities that you've got set, which uses the blue stuff there, which I think they call it Spirit on this. If you watch Bleach, it's very similar to Reishi. That's probably the best way I can explain it. It fills up by doing certain attacks, and you might have noticed after I've attacked, I'll then get that blue flash, and that means by attacking after that blue flash, I'll get a load more of it, and then I can use different skills and abilities, and it's just really cool and really expansive. Oh, I hate it when that happens. When the camera dies right when you're in the middle of doing something. Anyway, before the camera so rudely interrupted me, I was talking about the combat of the game. And the combat, I've pretty much said everything I can. While it is very basic button mashing, because of being able to assign different abilities and every character having different strengths and weaknesses and different things to do, it means that the combat is actually very deep, and you can create a simple combo system almost by doing this, that and the other, just by like chaining certain commands in certain places. Granted, it's nothing anywhere near as deep as like of Ninja Gaiden or, for example, not Gears of War, God of War, or anything like that, but it's still, it's enough to keep it from being monotonous, and it's something that even after 20-25 hours over the space of a few days, I really did become addicted to this, as I said at the start. I was still finding it fresh and finding new things, and it paces it out well by giving you new characters at different intervals. You don't just start with 6, you start with 2 and you slowly work your way up. Story-wise, the game doesn't have any at the start. It's the whole point is you've lost your memory, and you have to discover what happened, and you go and you find out that there's some job about making a map of the Great Forest, so you basically become a cartographer, and you team up with one of your friends, and that's about it. And for the most part, you're just going around and you're constantly fighting enemies, and you're going onto the map, and let's see, as it says there on this file here, I'm about halfway through the game, I think, at this point, but I've done 67.9% of the map, and just by going all over, I mean, you can see just how large this map actually is, and I've not even done 100% of it on this file. And you just have to go and find new places, and it becomes a bit like a Metroidvania in the ways of you'll find areas that you can't get past because you don't have the right character or the right ability. And it's just things like that actually, that again, keeps it fresh. There's also a nice tool for backtracking. You might have already seen me use it. It's basically a teleport point. Basically, you go to these plinths, and from those plinth things, you can, the coloured things there, like this, that's cyan. And from that, you can travel to any coloured cyan one or anything like that, and it helps it out. Later on, you get an ability to travel anywhere at any time. So as long as you've got a plinth, I'm standing here, nowhere near one, I can travel all the way over to here, even though I'm not at a green one. I can travel all the way over to there, even though I'm not at a yellow one. And it really does speed up being able to backtrack, and I think they had to do that because otherwise you would have spent so much time backtracking, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm obsessive with these sorts of games. Even games where you don't have to complete the map, I will try my best to complete the map because I just love doing that. So when I thought that was the whole premise of the game, completing the map, I thought, oh, this is brilliant. All of a sudden, after around about 15 hours, a story evolves. It's just literally in the space of 2 or 3 cutscenes, you just go from, there's not much of a story here, to, oh my god, I have to find out what happens next. It just becomes amazing, and seriously, it's one of the best stories I've seen in a game in a long time. And yes, I'm aware this is a remake, so there's already a lot of people who've already judged the game on its story, but for me, experiencing it the first time, I think it's just fantastic. Overall, I really can't rate the game highly enough. It is probably my favourite Vita game. I am so glad that I imported it. Just going back to the Silver Anniversary Edition, I did forget to mention one important thing. It also comes with a copy of the game. I've noticed on a lot of retailers now that they seem to always list that these special editions come with a copy of the game, as if it wasn't self-explanatory. And the only time I've ever seen it not come with a copy of the game is the likes of the Forza Special Edition for the Xbox One, where that one didn't come with a copy of the game. So I just thought I'd point out, just in case you were a little worried. And yes, I say that completely tongue-in-cheek, because I do find the whole practice quite stupid, really. But it's one of those. I'm glad I imported it. I'm glad I got the Silver Anniversary Edition, because it was fantastic. I've mentioned the combat, I've mentioned obviously story. There's a load of other intricate systems in the game. You've seen us swap out the party. You can do that quite actively as soon as you get 4 more people. There's 2 party systems, and if I go to there, right, I've got one of each type here. So I've got a strike, a slash, and a pierce. That means that at the moment my rare item drop rate increases. If I were to do a simple swap of Adol for Ozma, so I've then got 2 of the same type, so 2 of the pierce, then I gain increased damage for the party. So it does matter what people you have equipped at what time, and especially if you're going around grinding, because some missions you do have to not so much grind for EXP, you can do that and it does help, but mainly you have to grind for items, because while there's a whole host of normal items, so things like cure paralysis, cure everything, restore HP, boost certain abilities at certain times, and then there's also these which are artifacts, and they basically do things. So the dwarf bracelet makes you small, the Hydra scales allows you to swim, the Gale shoes is basically like the Pegasus boots if you've ever played Zelda, it allows you to run really fast. But it's mainly items like these that you're going to be getting under this list here, which shows you all the weapons that you've collected for all the characters and shows you which one's your mission. Well, it doesn't show you, it basically shows that between that one and that one you missed something, so if you want to complete it, you've got to go back and get it. But basically, there's all sorts of like gems and ore and beast parts and plant types and things like that. And by collecting them, you'll sometimes have to collect them just for mission purposes, like bring me 2 of this, 3 of this, etc., and that'll do the mission. There's other times where just collecting them, you can go into a store and trade them. So you can trade like 10 of something that's weak to get 1 of something that's better. And then you can trade that 1 of something that's better when you get 10 of them to something that's even better. And you can go up like that. And once you've traded for good materials, you can then use those materials to increase your weapons. And the weapon system is brilliant because of that. I mean, if I quickly go into it here, you might be able to see, and I'll try and actually hold that up, you've got different pictures there for the armor and the weapon, and they pretty much do the same thing. So like the first one, it boosts strength or defense. The second one, I believe that's the healing one, so you heal when attacking enemies. The second one on armor, you heal just by wearing the armor. There's like burn status, so you'll do more burn damage, or the burn damage won't affect you as much. You'll freeze people for longer, or the freeze won't affect you as much. You'll poison people for longer, or poison won't affect you much. It's all pretty much the same stuff. There's only a couple that are specific to it, which, for example, obviously strength changes to defense. Anything that's offense, so like critical hits, will change to, I think critical hits change to evade, if that picture matches up. I'm struggling to see the little pictures while I do this, but basically it's almost like a tit-for-tat system, and it means that whenever you get a new weapon, you can then spend all your cash that you've saved up and use all the item parts that you've gained to just make the weapon better. And sometimes you'll do that and you'll realise I shouldn't have done that because I've just got a better weapon no more than an hour later. Other times you'll think, why didn't I upgrade it more, because I've still not found a better weapon. And it's just a great system because it just means by a little bit of grinding you can make any weapon incredibly good, and it should last you for quite some time. I really can't rate the game highly enough. I know I've already said it, but pretty much everything it does right, and I cannot believe this is the same series of that game that I detested so much, because it's just night and day, the difference. This really is one of those games that I would have regretted not playing had I went without playing it. Instead, I'm thinking I am so glad I got it, and it's now made me interested in buying other Ys games. So I can see me next time there's a sale on PSP games on the PSN, I can see me probably picking one or two of them up, because I wouldn't want to spend too much on them in case they're not as good, because obviously this is while it's the fourth in the series, it's the most advanced, because it's the one running on the new engine, it's the one where they've tweaked everything, so I might only like this one, I mightn't like the others. It's a bit of a risk I'd have to take. I've shown you one of these special abilities. I'll show you this one here if I can actually find some enemies, because I realised I've probably shown the worst one, because the guy who just punches just does some punching, whereas she does some slashes and then brings down what I can only assume is like an ice rock type thing, and she fires that into them, and that's pretty cool. I don't think there's much else left I can actually mention about the game. Skills, I've already mentioned them. You can assign them and you can level them up as well. It tells you how much XP you need, and by leveling them up they get better, and you can only assign 4 at any one point, so it's always hold R and then you hit triangle, circle, X or square. You can't have hold R, hit X and square to be number 5 or something like that, you know. I've mentioned the item system. The system is just things like you can view your controls, I think you can customize them, but I like the way it is. You can save, you can load, you can erase, you can go to the title screen. I've mentioned the party system. Journal and memories are the only two I haven't really mentioned, because I've shown the map. Memories, I won't go into them, because obviously the whole point is you're getting your memories back, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but it is quite cool how it works. It's almost like Silent Hill, if you've ever played that. When you walked into a room and all of a sudden it started to go really screwy, like the picture started to go static and shake and there was noise, and all of a sudden something happened in Silent Hill. Well, with this, it's that, and you swap to the main character and something will appear, and it'll just be like a blue ball or a red ball or something. You'll go up to it, you'll touch it, you'll get a cutscene, it'll fill in some information, and you'll usually get that before going to a new area, because then you have to kind of piece together the memories, and you have to be almost like a detective and work out, because all the time people are saying, so what does this mean to you? And it's just like, well, I don't have a clue, or, well, I might have the faintest idea, and then you have to try and delve into your own memories and work it out at the same time that the game's telling you how to work it out, and I think that was a quite cool system. Journal is pretty simplistic. It's everything you'd expect. It's a load of story, it's a load of quests, it's a load of the beasts, which usually are bestiaries or beasties or however you pronounce it, but on this it is just simple monsters. That word, which I'm struggling to read here, that's the materials tab. Then you've got the manual tab, which basically tells you your basic controls and that, and every time something happens to you for the first time, it pops up and tells you some info, so it saves there in case you forget. And then you've got your records, where it tells you how many things you've done, how many flash guards, flash moves, because there is a guarding system on it, and I suppose that's the only thing I haven't mentioned. And basically you've already seen us moving, and that's dodge, so that's basically flash move. As someone's about to attack you, the moment they do it, and I'll try and set it up, but the AI is being There we go. The moment they were about to attack, I jump out the way, it freezes the enemy for a bit, I get a lot of SP for doing so, and it's really cool. You've then got the triangle button, which is your guard, and it's the same again. Just as they're about to attack, you hit it, it freezes the enemy for a bit, I believe. It's the one I rarely use. I only did as many to get the trophy, to be fair, because I don't think it's as effective as jumping out the way. And you get some SP, and it just, they do help you out, but it is all down to your playstyle on which one you'd rather use, and I'd much rather use the jump to the side one. One of the cool systems is if you are running out of energy as well, because I can show this here by the fact that I'm poisoned. Standing still will stop you from being like poisoned as much, because everything's got a time limit. So just standing still, you constantly regenerate health at the same time that everything's wearing off you. The only times it doesn't work like that is when it's in a dungeon and when you need a specific item to do that instead. So if you are in danger and you've not been to a safe point in ages, you just need to find a safe place to hide, stand there, all of your characters will put their weapons away and they'll start to heal. I've mentioned the AI on the game. There is 2 commands, and you can do it in the options or you can do it with that. Basically, if you squeeze together or pinch apart, it changes them from offensive to evasive. So they'll either go and attack everything in sight, or they'll stand by and make sure that they're not getting themselves into danger. Because if one character's about to die and the other 2 are fine and they run off, then the last thing you want is to swap to one of those characters, have that one then run into combat and die. So you just tell them to go into evasive mode and they'll just sit there and they'll be fine. So I think the only thing I can mention about the game now that I haven't is graphically, it's decent. Loads of people are slating the game for its graphics, and I think it's unfair. Yeah, it's not the best looking game, but it doesn't need to be. And quite frankly, the combat is so fast and furious, I reckon if it was graphically advanced, you'd probably get severe frame rate issues as you were doing like super special moves and huge things like that happening, you know, and loads of, I mean, some of the bosses are massive, and the stuff that happens at the time, I honestly think if it was high in graphics, a boss doing a super attack, you doing a super attack, and all sorts of the AI fighting little minions and that at the same time, it would freeze the game up. So I'm glad that it isn't. Musically, I think it works incredibly well, the music, because it doesn't so much take you out the game, it just works, it complements it well. There's some tunes that are really, really good, and you'll find yourself humming them, and it's why I'm glad I got the CD with the silver anniversary. And then there's some other tunes which you'll just think, well, they're nice background pieces, they're nothing too special, but they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to detract from the story or anything, they're just supposed to get you to the next area. So I really do think that is everything I can say about it. I'll just finish with what you might have already guessed. This, as far as I'm concerned, is probably the best game on the Vita. I think I like it more than any other games that I've got on the Vita, and I've got a hefty amount, because I'm one of the few people who thinks that the Vita actually has a decent game library. Yes, I love my 3DS, and I think the 3DS has probably got more quality games, but this has probably got more decent games, if you know what I mean. There's games on this that you just can't get, and vice versa, and it's why I wanted to have both of them, because I'm a huge handheld gamer. And I'd probably say at the moment this is my favourite handheld game at this moment in time. It's still not the best handheld game I've ever played, but I'm liking this a lot more than Bravely Default, which may be an unpopular opinion, and don't get me wrong, I love Bravely Default, but I just think I'm so glad that someone basically talked me into introducing this game into my life, because as sad as it is, it hasn't half helped me out while I've been feeling pretty groggy over the wintry months of getting flu and things like that. Just being able to lose yourself into an awesome game like this, it always comes in handy. So if you're on the fence about it, it comes out soon in Europe, it's already out in America and Japan. It's well worth a look. Even if you trade in some old games that you're not too keen on to get it, I definitely think it's well worth a look. It's a hefty length. It's something that you're going to sink many hours into. Even if you only play the basics, so to try to do as little as possible to get to the end, it's going to take some while. But if you want to complete everything 100%, and if you get absorbed into it, and you want to upgrade the best weapons to the best kit, then it's going to take you some hefty time. So that's pretty much all I can say. I hope you enjoyed if you get it. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there. And don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.